Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to be doing a kind of impressionist painting with some snow and ice and sort of sparkling sunlight that is going to be a little bit from memory and a little bit from some photos that aren't very good. I think it's an interesting combination, but I basically I'm going to try and get some ideas down while I've still got the thought in my head. And I've got some pictures to rely back on, but they don't really have what I'm looking for. So I'm gonna hopefully combine some things together and make a pretty painting. For this one, I'm gonna try and work with pretty much with knives but carefully. I'm gonna be working on a board. I finished this one with gesso, but I just used a scraper to do it, so it's got a little bit of like a plaster type texture to it, with some lines and different things going on, but not any sort of like brush marks in it. So I think that I'm gonna try and keep like a nice like knife texture throughout the whole thing, and not try to like rely on blending. So I'm gonna do a lot of mixing on the palette, and then a lot of hopefully careful application to create the drawing that I'm looking for. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna just jump into it. Yeah, try and get some ideas down. So start. Oh, the other thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try using this walnut alkyd medium, which is it's another medium that is actually a little bit helps the paint dry a little bit faster. So I'm gonna try to use that so that, like, I'll be able to keep working in and keeping different colors from mixing together quite as much, but probably in a given session it'll stay wet the whole time. But then if I come back to it tomorrow, it'll be all dry. So I'm gonna probably plan to work in some wax in this one too. So having everything fairly dry before I do wax usually works out well. I don't know. That's the thought. That's the plan. We'll see where it goes, I guess. Yeah. I've been thinking about, I think I'm going to try and stick to kind of smaller and shaped knives for actually applying the paint, but I'm going to use a bigger knife for mixing the paint, just creating my colors. So, yeah, maybe I'll just use this round one for making colors. I've got this little guy, and maybe this one with the teeth, and there we go. And then this long oval one. I think I might start actually with that for drawing. Normally I don't pick them out all ahead of time, but it's just something I've been thinking about. So put those over there so I don't forget about them. And I'm not going to even open up the linseed oil because I'm not going to use it. I'm going to put a little bit of lavender into this jar here, just if I want to grab a little bit of that. Okay. So I'm going to start by mixing up a couple of the darker tones. So these are going to be both kind of different shades of gray. I think I'm going to use some burnt umber, maybe some, do I want to use sienna? No, I'm going to use burnt umber and ultramarine, I think, for those. So I'll just set out a little bit on my palette. That's where I'll start. Be a little bit of phthalo as well. Get that ready. I'm gonna start by sitting in some of these sort of darker, snowier tones. I'm not gonna worry about putting a light layer in. I'm kind of thinking about Monet's painting style a little bit, though I'm gonna use knives and not brushes, so it will be different. But I'm thinking about trying to keep fairly light, not do a ton of layering necessarily, but keep the brush strokes kind of dry, or the paint strokes. Yeah, so I'm not gonna start with a wet layer on this one. Yeah, let's see. So I'm going to make a sort of bluer one and a browner one. They're both going to be different variations of the same. To start with. Add just a little bit of this titanium white to both of them as well, because I don't want this to be totally dark. So, not yet anyway. I use this to set up. I think this blue one could be a little bit more blue. Yeah, I'll start there. So start with this little oval knife. And basically I've got this big tree. I'm gonna start just kind of sketching in its trunk. It's a little bit wonky. It's got some different things going on. I can't actually see the base of it in my reference, because there's some fencing that I'm gonna adjust. I'm just gonna sort of work it in here for now. Other thing I've got is sort of a bunch of bushes here. Some even bluer lines. It's a little intense working on this because I've got the white of the background showing through, which I normally wouldn't do. I forgot to add in my medium as well. I thought this had a dropper in it. It doesn't. I'm gonna use another dropper, I guess. Let's see. Move this over here. Apparently this stuff, you don't want to use very much of it. So, just putting that in there. It might even be more than I need right now. So I'm just gonna add a little bit more blue here. A little bit more of this white. Just start working with some of these colors, but yeah, I'm on this white backdrop. This whole scene it's like a really bright morning where overnight there was some freezing rain, and you wake up and the trees are all sparkling. There's all this activity. I don't know why I'm losing my voice. That's not good. All right, it's just morning. So it is morning. So I'm just gonna keep kind of dashing in some different colors. But I thought all this white possibly sort of sparkling through might be nice to keep. Maybe some of it'll go away anyway, but I've got these sort of this hedge here. I've got this tree. There's a house back here. I'm gonna just kind of keep working it through. Maybe a couple other roof lines further back. And then I've got some birds and squirrels and all kinds of like life. That's just and all these kind of hedge plants are all kind of squished right now. The weight of the ice, but it's warming up and they'll start to flex back soon. Kind of want that sort of squashed feeling to be in there now. To get these different sort of directions, different pieces of light. Let's see. I'm just working with a few different tones right now. Good. I think it's good to try different methods as much as it's nice to probably have a really recognizable style. I feel like I'm kind of avoiding having that just yet. Maybe it'll start to make sense. do think working this way is probably a little hard to understand, but I think sometimes when I do a kind of a beginning sketch, it probably makes it a little easier to see where I'm going. So I don't know. We'll see. I painted the scene about a year ago, actually. Maybe not with the ice on it, but with the sparrows in this kind of hedge. And I found it definitely a challenging one, just because but also one of these things that I see it and it kind of haunts me, and I wanna paint it. So kind of doing it anyway because of that. So, a little bit more white. Gotta figure out my strategy for adding in this medium too. So I don't want to overdo it by putting in too much. So I'm trying to just add a little every once in a while. I feel like if I do that, it'll probably mix into about the right amount. That's the theory anyway. This trunk a little bit further. It's a little bit lighter. This tree almost looks like it's twisted around. Trying to go into some of these darker spots, lighter spots, just create a sense of the tree having some depth to it. Branches come out in front of each other. Trying almost not to overthink any of these edges, since I know the edges aren't going to be what makes this painting. What makes this painting is going to be the light. Which is, I think, I mean, obviously they're related to each other, the edges and the light. But just, I guess it depends kind of how you focus it. Take just a tiny bit of alizarin, mix that with some phthalo, and make kind of a purple. I don't want to use this directly yet because I don't want to bring in too too much saturation, but I want to bring in just a little in with this dark. So just gonna start putting in some of these sort of trunk shadows here. One with more alizarin now. Seems like where the snow's sort of reflecting the light back up, it almost gets a little bit more warmer, purpler. Probably working some similar things over here too. It's definitely one of these paintings where I'm trying to stay in the dark as much as possible for now. I think the light part of this painting is actually going to be pretty easy. If I get the shadows right, get the right shapes in, get the right colors in. I'm also starting in the foreground more than I normally would as well, which I don't know. It can be tricky, but I think it can also keep the focus a little bit forward. I don't know. It's good to try different things. Just kind of using the knife to make some different sort of branch shapes here. These don't have to be quite as crisp out at the edges. I'll probably work the sky back in around a lot of this. I want it to sort of have this texture laid in here. It's tempted to go a little warmer with this, maybe. A little bit of burnt sienna too. Try and keep that out of the shadows. I think that I want just a little bit more warmth anywhere the light is kind of coming through. Do a little bit of that up here. Something about this feels it feels like risky, but it feels kind of fresh and alive too. I think because there's all this sort of sparkling white, that I'm not worried about having little bits of white peeking through all of this. I think it actually, for this painting, is good, so I don't have to worry about covering everything up. That's kind of why I don't want to lose the light that way. Okay, I might even add just a little bit of cat yellow into that. I've got the sunlight really coming through right here. Like all these little twigs are kind of lighting up, and I can't even see this. It's a little frustrating because it's not in my photo, but I feel like I remember it that way. So I'm just gonna believe in it and do it anyway. Okay, I think that's coming along. I've got this building back here, which I think I'm gonna start working in. I'm gonna leave it pretty gray though. I'm gonna leave the edges a bit soft on it as well. So I don't think that it really needs to be a focal point, but I think that it's here and it's casting some shade, so I'm gonna include it. Not that much yellow, just a little. Just trying to get the right shade of kind of gray blue. It's probably a little too light. A little bit more umber. I thought I was going to mix with my other knife, but it just didn't turn out that way. There it is, actually. Pretty dark. At least at the top. I'll leave some space for the light to come through here. That's the theory anyway. A little bit more. A little bit yellower over here. A little bit more blue. There we go. Kind of gives the, I think it might give the feel of like a couple of layers of these hedges here. Got a couple of different shadow colors. I've got a lot of highlighting I want to bring in here, which I've got kind of a foundation of it starting to form. Go just a little lighter. Just a little bit. Just dragging this down. A little bit rough. I just want it to have some of these colors to peek through, but I'm gonna plan to layer up some more. Some more whites and lights over here, but I'll mostly keep them fresh. I'm staying mostly in cool tones right now. I did got a little warmer up there, but I'll try and mostly stick to that. I've got snow and some more shadow probably to put in here. Yeah, I guess I'll probably pop back to that for a little bit. More of this ultramarine. Been using a lot of this. I might have to get a bigger tube, but I've just been kind of into ultramarine lately. All right. think that's working fairly well. Put a little more of this sienna up here too. And sort of a little of both colors on my knife right now. Kind of a purple color here. It's really, I want to bring kind of like all this vibrancy in. I think I might try and do this whole painting with this one knife too. And I had originally had more options, but I'm thinking simple's good. A bit more white. Still working in the shadows here. But they're kind of light shadows because they're snowy, so mostly start to create a little hill right here. Just kind of bring in this as like a separate foreground. A little bit of light coming over the edge. I love painting snow. I thought I might have been tired of it. But then you get a good day or good light. And I don't know, then I'm back into it again. Which is good. I try to always just paint what I'm excited about, and then I wanted to start this one while I had it fresh in my mind. I think that works out well. Alright. I'm gonna start bringing in some sky too. For the sky color, thinking some of the Cephas blue, some of this ultramarine to start. But I think that's gonna be too dark, so I'm gonna take some of this white and mix that in, and put in a little drop of my medium. Start there. get a little bit lighter, kind of up into this area where the sun is. Start by putting in this kind of brightest area first. I was thinking this was going to be more Monet-like, but now it's kind of giving me a Van Gogh vibe right now. But it's probably not really anybody else but me on some level too. Just mixing up a little bit bluer, a little bit darker one. I'm trying not to mix my colors, so I'm leaving some little gaps. Again, very, very different from how I've been working in general. I wanna try it. I think a lot about like trying to keep my colors really clean, or like at least kind of have a plan for how they're going to blend together. This all in here. Add a little bit more white. I'll say this might be getting my arm a little tired. Okay. Get a little bit more white. I think sometimes different lighting inspires different paint styles too. Sort of making some sense now, I think. I feel like I'm using the white of the canvas rather than fighting it for the most part. Bored, I guess. Either way, though. I do think sometimes the grid of the canvas kind of bugs me. Just because it's so rectangular. And sometimes it's not really what we're going for. Having lots of little rectangles showing through something. So sometimes I think the board can be good. I kind of like this way of prepping the surface too, with the scraper and letting it be a little bit more organic. More white. This, I feel like this whole scene has a lot of like rhythm to it. It's not quite all defined yet, but it's sort of getting there. Add this chimney onto this house. I kind of figure out where I'm going in here. Obviously, it's kind of leading your eye in. I'm gonna make some kind of focal point here, but I haven't decided what it is yet. I think I'm gonna keep any sort of horizontal lines a bit soft though. I'm gonna maybe frame that in kind of in a similar way that I've done a lot of these sort of head shapes. Goes like that, kind of trails off. It's not too bad. I think that's the sort of thing that worked because I started with the foreground, and if I had chosen what was going on back there, I would have not had the opportunity to really think about that as much. I might have ended up with something I didn't want. Possibly. I'm just gonna keep working some of these blues in back here. There we go. Liking this so far. Yeah. I think it's getting along. I think I'm actually getting pretty close to a stopping point. I'm thinking I have most of the darks kind of laid in, and I'm probably mostly interested in coming back in and working on the light, putting in some details, adding my birds. I could have painted the birds in early. I thought about it, and it might have been good, but I wasn't quite sure where I wanted to put them. And they're gonna be pretty small too, so I don't want them to get, I didn't want to get them lost either. Let's see. Yeah, I think I can let this sit for a little bit, but yeah, I'm liking it. Alright, I think I'm gonna stick to the same knife when I get back too. And yeah, it'll be kind of lighting up a lot of these edges and doing some pretty things. Maybe I'll switch to an even smaller, more sharp knife for some details, but we'll see. And I think I'm gonna add a squirrel maybe. I'll have to look up some squirrel pictures just to have something to work with. Yeah, alright. I'll be back in a few. And I'm back. Let's see. Actually, yeah, that walnut alkyd medium worked really well. This is pretty well dry. It's been a little over a day since I worked on this. Oh yeah, really nice. Okay, so that's a good way to do. Sometimes when I find, like when I do a thick first layer, then I feel like it's too wet and then it will tend to mix in later, which can be a nice effect sometimes. But for what I wanted to do here, I really wanted to keep my warm tones and my cool tones a little bit more separated. So I was hoping that they would mostly dry out. And it seems like they did. So I'm going to be primarily working on the warm tones, though I may go in and do a little detail in the cool tones. I want to get... Oh, that was still wet. Alright, noted. We'll have to be a little bit more diligent about probably mixing that as I go. But I'm gonna, in any case, I wanted to do a little bit more work with this and kind of clear out the white from the sky specifically, because I want all this shimmering white to come through on the icy areas, but it really doesn't need to do that on the sky. So that's gonna get a little bit more touched up, but I'm just gonna keep working into it. I want to keep this one pretty textural, and just like lively. So I don't know. We'll see. I am thinking I'm gonna get some wax out, get a little bit more white. There it is. So it's been a little while since I did any wax painting, and I've been wanting to get back to it, but I don't know. I always have so many things I want to do. But it can take me a while to get back around to whatever it is. So I'm just gonna put a little blob of this out right here. And what this does, mostly it lets my paint be really thick, and lets me kind of build it up a little bit more. It also will dry like a little bit more satin, so a lot of times I like my darks to be kind of shinier, and then I like my lights to be a little bit more matte, and I just feel like they pick up the light a little bit more that way. You know, assuming you have some nice light hitting your painting. So yeah, so I'm just getting out a little bit of wax. And yeah, this is Gamblin's cold wax medium. I get asked about this a lot in the comments, so I try to explain it when I use it. And get some of this regular titanium white out as well, since that's running down a bit. But I'm going to plan to start, bringing the sunlight right through here, and that will maybe give me what I need to sort of start working into the sky. There's all these like really beautiful, like different color speckles of all. It's like every little icicle on all of these plants is acting like a little prism, and I honestly don't know how I'm going to represent that, but I really want to try. So there's going to be, I think, lots of little spots of different colors here, and I think I've got a nice foundation to work with. So I'm gonna just give it a go. All right. Think about organizing my space a little bit more. It keeps getting a little better, but it's taken me a while to get it even to this level of organized. So just pop some more white paint here. Try to not get my sort of newest white paint too dirty when I put it on the palette. Just naturally ends up with lots of things mixed into it before too long. No matter what I do, it seems like. Alright, put that there. And I think, yeah, let's mix up. I'm gonna do a very light sort of yellow-white to start with. See, this is, oh, that jar is driving me crazy. I bought another tube, but I do want to use what I've got here before I break into that. So I'll grab a little bit of cadmium yellow light, just a tiny little dot of that. I think this is going to be my sort of lightest, warmest color. Probably make a couple different values of this. So that's kind of the lightest maybe, and then that one's a little bit more yellow. Grab some wax and go into this. I do about half and half. I think they say on the jar like 40%. But how do you measure 40% when you're moving knives around? So I go about half. So I'm gonna actually start with this knife for a little bit. I'm just gonna start filling in the sunlight, and you can see this, like even now, this already looks brighter than the white of the background, which is what I was kind of hoping for, but that I can kind of purposely leave some of these little twigs sticking through. They're too, right now they're actually too thick. So it's good if I can kind of work them out this way. Yeah, in a way it would be easier to paint this background first, but sometimes when you want it really bright, I think a thick layer really can do a lot for you. So I'm gonna I've got actually the sun and this glare is kind of up in this top corner the most here. And I'm gonna try and mostly work that in here. I'm gonna put some more highlights on these branches as well. They're actually, a lot of these are a bit darker than they need to be, but for now they're good that way. Okay, so then as I come a little bit away from that corner, I'm going into this next yellow that's a little bit more yellow, a little less white, I guess. Actually, I'm gonna put a little wax into that too. Almost forgot. It won't hurt anything, but I like the look of the wax better, so get that in there. The other thing I really like about working with the wax is it just has a really, I don't know, it has a nice way of like not mixing in. So sometimes when I want the colors to kind of stand up a little bit on their own, I can put it down a little thicker without having it all turn into a mess. Pop a couple more dots of this in and then switch to a smaller knife. Okay. Do that. And I want to go one step more yellow. This is one of these like sort of judgment calls that the reference won't really tell you, because I'm seeing some more kind of red in the branches up here. nice bit of this. Let's see. Maybe just sort of work it in here. This is almost like I'm sort of mixing the light and mixing the tree together. Yeah, I just want to play with this a bit. Pretty nice. Maybe just a tad more red as I come down. Try that for now. Let's see. Go back to this knife that I used originally and just start putting in a little texture here. This, I want to kind of feel these sun rays here, kind of popping through this tree. A little bit more. Let's see. Let's see how that goes. I like that. I think I can put a little bit more of this light on this branch here. We'll see if this looks like another one where a bomb went off in a tree. I hope not. That's not the vibe I'm going with, but I really love the light of the light coming through trees. It just always, I don't know, it just always feels really magical. That's kind of nice. And I'm gonna do a little bit. I've got kind of that same color here in the snow. This latest. Oops. What I wanted to do. Grab this lightest light. I think that can start working its way in over here. This is interesting. It's actually kind of shifting. It's a little bit more golden further back here, and then as I get forward toward these shadows up in the front, it's actually shifts a little bit more blue. So I'm gonna just try and work with that for now. Put in this lightest area, and I'll mix it a little more to go toward blue afterwards. Maybe even. Could even have a little of this lighter yellow here. And you think you don't want yellow snow, but I always laugh as I make it, but it's funny because that's what happens when the sun hits it. In general, if you want to make something look sunlit, make it a bit golden, and if you want to make it this pink tone over here. This pathway I'm kind of making up, so I'm just kind of thinking about which colors I'd like to have there. I've got a lot of like very brightly lit sort sort of bramble and branches here that I'm going to go over all this stuff with. But I don't want to get it too covered in paint just yet. I'm going to use a thin knife for it. Let's see. Keep going here. Go all the way over here. Just go a little bit purple. There we go, ultramarine, you've got it. Guess I was in an ultramarine mood when I started this. And because I'm in wax here, I won't, even though I'm going to put in a little bit of purple over here, I'm not in too much danger of having it mix in. I just want this little area. I might do well with this. It's funny, normally you don't get like warm backgrounds, but this is just sort of having that feeling a bit. A little bit of this cat red, a little bit of wax. Keep going into this tree a little bit and creating some sort of bright shapes. A little bit of this cad yellow medium. Some of them just trying to get a lot of different colors in here. This keeps it from looking like they're too flat, you know. Let's kind of get a good look to it. Some of these lower branches a little cooler. Maybe some of this purple. So many different colors in here. Think about areas where I'm kind of blocking the light out. Like I see areas where there's no sparkling. So I think it's gonna need that in order to make it come through, so that it doesn't look like I just kind of messed up and didn't fill it in enough. That's the theory anyway. Can you hear some of these shadows have the same character? I said I wasn't gonna go into the shadows too much, but now I'm feeling like I kind of need to, so keep doing this. I think these are good. They're a little bit more vibrant though than what I had before. Just keeping these kind of dim, which I think it's coming along. Okay. Little two-color mix. One side with that, one side with that. It's kind of neat. I feel like that's starting to have that feel. These bushes got really crushed. So all the ice really weighed them down. I'm probably not too happy about it, but they look really pretty. A little bit of cadmium yellow medium, a little bit of flower mud I had on my knife. Just kind of bringing in, I kind of wanted some warm undertones here. There's a bunch of stuff that's not totally lit up, but it's sort of in there. It's getting hit by some light. A little bit more yellow even. I started wondering, I was like, oh, maybe this isn't even a very pretty scene. Maybe it's silly, but sometimes I get in a mood where, I don't know, all I want to do is paint like really majestic scenes, but I don't always have access to really majestic scenes in life, so I was like, maybe just kind of like doing something with a more simple everyday scene just kind of seemed like a good idea. This is an everyday scene. It's kind of a everyday scene with a little extra magic from nature, which I like. I think it's good to be able to recognize that sort of thing. something that's just kind of like a little bit funny, like a paint by number in a way. We're kind of going around and filling in the little spots that seem like they don't quite belong. Let's see. Okay, a little more on my ultramarine. Let's bring that a little darker. Maybe a little phthalo too, actually. Noticing like this shadow, for instance, doesn't really have those flickers of light in them. I've got this funny little area that really looks like it needs to be darker that I just kind of left off here. I'll worry about that in a minute. Look how that's filling in now. I think the sky's gonna get a similar look to it. A lot of times I'm just kind of problem solving as I go. So I think it's nice not to have to worry too much. It'll either work out or it won't. If it's not so great, I can just start the next one. But I'm having fun either way. I'll need a little more purple. Yeah, that ultramarine alizarin purple is really nice. Really liking that lately. Stick this on the side here. Okay, here. Pretty nice. Let's see. Such funny light. All right. Almost need. Let's see. Now, a little bit of white to this mix that I have here. Try that out. Seeing See kind of this edge area over here. Just a little more warm, a little bit more orange, a little of that too. Let's see. Make sort of different marks too. I want these to look too similar. It's really like a lot of chaos in the way that these are all mixed up. The hedges are probably twice as tall normally. Not as sparkly. Now, let's see. I've got this kind of whiter bluer snow that I do want to fill in, and that'll be white and wax, maybe a little bit of yellow here and there, maybe even a little bit of blue here and there too. I think I'm gonna skip over that for a minute, and I do want to go back into the sky because I feel like I'm finding it distracting right now. So I'm going to do just some Sevres blue and some wax and probably add some white to this. I just want to kind of see where it lands before I do that. It's not too bad actually. I'll put a little bit in just full strength first. These little white marks are just a little not what I was going for. Little white marks are a bit distracting now. Scrape that out. Pop this in over it. Not the fastest way to paint a sky, but might be something to it still. starting to get there. Just gonna keep going and stay patient. Keep filling things in as I can. I'm gonna have to use another knife to get that roof edge sorted out. But for now, I just want to kind of fill this in. I think it's starting to make the rest of it feel like it's lighting up though, because I've got kind of a resting place for your eye. If you have too much light, then you don't see any of it. So you do need to maintain a bit of darkness. Which is funny, normally the sky wouldn't be the dark area, but for this one, it is. It's still bright, nice and blue, but there's a lot more light here than what I'm getting from the sky. It's having a nice feel though. It's interesting because actually the tone of this building and the tone of the sky they're not actually that different. Like if this was a black and white image, you wouldn't really see, it'd be much more sort of disguised in here, which I actually like. I wanted this here for like setting, but I really didn't. It's not like really a house painting, it's just kind of a view painting, I guess. That's how I'm thinking of it anyway. Keep working this in. I think because this blue is so bright, it's really gonna set off a lot of these warm tones now. Hoping it won't mix in too much though. But we'll see as we go. I'm gonna mix up a lighter version of this for a lot of this inner area, but let's start out here and see how far we want to go with it like this. And the other thing is I want to get rid of these speckles in here, but actually close to the tree I kind of want to leave some of it, so. It's coming along. Again, this method is a little tiring, so I don't know. It's definitely takes a lot more material. I just had to add a little bit of white and a little bit more Severus blue together with some wax here. I'm just trying to go for a slightly lighter version. I might even go just a little bit more white as I work as I work down into this area, I wanted it to be a little bit lighter. And as I work into the tree, kind of same idea. Go a little bit more. That might be too much. We'll see. Try that out. That's not too bad. I like having this sky have some different colors working through it. I think it's starting to set back though with the white going away. Mixed a little of this sort of orangey brown color in here. I've got some different sort of layers of trees and things going on back here, so it's not straight to sky, but some different things happening. So just kind of giving those a little bit of a different gesture to them. Not 100% sure how it's gonna work, but it's I'm gonna keep at it. Keep putting down paint, making decisions. Alright. Alright, so yeah, I think I'm gonna keep working in. I'm seeing that sort of under the branches, I'm not getting the same sparkling as I'm getting kind of above them, which is where the ice is catching more of the light. So I'm going to focus on filling in my sky, mostly on the bottoms of these right now. Sometimes it's like just about picking a strategy and like following it for a while. I think until you kind of try something, you don't always know how it's going to work or how it's going to turn out. And by putting in the sky right now, I'm painting the tree as much as I'm painting the sky. At least that's how I'm thinking of it. So that's the idea anyway. I'm trying to just put it, mostly focusing on where I'm covering up white. I'm not trying to layer over my other paint too much right now. This is specifically where I want to take away from the sort of unpainted space. Probably, probably getting some burning bush comments again. We'll see. But it wasn't really the goal. It's kind of cool though. All right. Kind of this balance between the sun, which is kind of, it's almost like consuming everything that's kind of coming through it. So here I've got just like bright, and it's just blocking everything else out. And then here I've got a little bit of like sky coming through, a little bit of definition, but it's still kind of getting lost in there. I probably need to make a nice lighter blue. I'm trying to do this without, I don't think there's really any green in here. It's just, it just gets light. So it's sunlight yellow, sky blue, bright, bright. I think that's kind of working. Probably end up kind of going back in and mixing in some sort of sparkly white, like white, green, and like red dots mostly. I don't know how those are gonna work, but just trying it. Step back for a minute. I think it's starting to work. It's just a little tricky, and it's a bit of a weird composition anyway. But I like it, so let's keep going. All right. I think the other thing that's really cool about doing this in sort of an impasto style is just the light hitting all the edges of the paint is sort of giving it that sparkle feeling that I was looking for. So it's kind of, I think it will be even better once I put a little bit more highlighting in, but it's coming along. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to just focus on just doing the bottom of this branch here. Some of the space. I like the look of this as it's filling in. sort of doing something where it's like visually blending a little bit. Isn't necessarily what I want, but something nice there. I feel like there's sort of there's an order to it that's starting to present itself. Clean this knife off. Let's sort of bring similar sense over here. It's like a painting that's not about getting any one mark right. It's about kind of having the right rhythm for the whole thing, maybe. These kind of illuminated branch lines. That's nice. Oh, that's working. A little bit of purple, mixing it in with this brown. Just sort of starting to bring a little bit of that texture across. Oh, that's nice. I like that. I like how the paint's kind of catching the texture that I made with the other knife. Oh, that's great. Okay. It's always fun when you discover something just through play, really. That's looking pretty good. Keep building this out, because really this tree actually kind of shrunk it down. I don't know that I needed to. I think it just kind of naturally happened as I started working on the sky. But it's actually got a lot of these little branches, and all their ends are lighting up a little bit. Let's do a little bit of alizarin, a little bit of cad yellow light, a little bit more wax. So I definitely want to keep building this up. I think the more texture I end up in here is going to be really good. Get a little bit more white in there too. A little bit more cad yellow light as well, or cad yellow. Cadmiums are nice because they're like the titanium. They will stand up against another color, so they don't go transparent. So even if you put down just a little bit, they'll tend to stand up. I don't know. It's the best way I can describe it. It's there. They have a little extra power to them. this sort of illuminated tree color. It's covering up some of my white that I had in here, but I think I'll probably bring it back in a little bit. I think right now I want to concentrate on the kind of keeping it colorful in the right ways. Let's do a little bit more alizarin. It's like I want, maybe I need like, maybe magenta would actually be, it's not quite right. It's like somehow I want like a light or alizarin, but I just need to probably mix a little white into alizarin. Enjoying kind of the messiness and the transparency here. Mix up some straight titanium and wax for a minute, just to start playing with it. I put this on my knife pretty thin. I want to just try. Let's see, that's what I don't want this to be too strong. I want to catch little dots. I'm just putting it in a little at a time, maybe. This kind of gives an impression of the little branches, little twigs and branches that break off and are catching the light in different ways. I like that. starting to get a good feel to it. It's not a fast way to paint. Takes a little while to really start to craft the image this way. I don't know. It might not be everybody's taste when it's done, but sometimes you gotta find out. Pretty good. This big blob of white in here that I just don't like. Get rid of it. Put some more of this blue back in. Almost lunchtime. Alright. I feel like a little bit over an hour on this session, really concentrating on all of this. I'm probably at that point where I should stop before I do something I regret. A lot of times I notice as I'm editing later, like I'll be like, I should have not done that. And I'll know it's always like right about now. So it's probably good. I feel like while this is all wet though, I'm kinda also like wanna sort of make sure I leave it in a good spot. Because I know how the paint's moving right now. And there's like if I don't always work on it all at once, it will sometimes it's hard to pick up in a new spot. So I think I've got the sky in a really nice place now right now. I want to come back and do a little bit more with the snow, a little bit more with this branch. Maybe touch on to some details on the house again though. I don't want to get too into that. But yeah. Alright. I'll be back in a few. Well, I think I'm gonna just carry on a little bit. I want to add in my squirrels and my birds. Maybe one squirrel. Maybe two. We'll see. And then just kind of finish up some of the snow and some of the details, but I think it's pretty close, and I like it. So, yeah, hopefully nothing too complicated to finish this one up. I'm gonna mix up a sort of dark color. This will be, do kind of looking for a brown. I'm gonna do some burnt sienna and a little bit of this ultramarine here. It's really good, and maybe do a little more of that actually. I'm gonna put a drop of this walnut alkyd medium in as well. I wanna be able to put in some of these shadows and some of these sort of branches that are covered in ice. I go kind of thin with them, so that's why I'm using the medium. This will not as chunky as the wax has gone on, but I want to just put some some little lines in, so I'll just try this out and see. Do it kind of in a less critical place. It's a little tough to do these in a curve. Maybe I'll switch knives. That's kind of got the right look actually. Not that. That's a little thick. Try the next one better. There we go. I feel like these are they're like kind of encapsulated and they're lighting up, but there's also like always little bits of them that are still blocking. Keep trying that. As our experiment continues. Do make a little variation of this that's a little bit more red. Okay. It's got about the right feel. Alright. Should we try and paint a squirrel? I think I should try and paint a squirrel. I think I'll mix up a color for this, but then I'm gonna use a brush as well. So I'm gonna put down a little bit of a shadow for him first. Kind of just keeping the same angle that I had before. So I think that'll be good enough for now. And then I can refine it a little bit once I have him drawn in. So just try using this brown I made up already. Trying to get his little posture and get his tail in here. It's about to go up this tree. trying to think. Maybe I have the tail. I feel like maybe his tail's supposed to go up and over, not. Should have actually. I had a reference for this, and then I just figured I didn't really need it. So I think it goes down, and then it goes up, and then it goes out. Yeah, it's more like that. Let's scrape out what I don't want there. Nice thing is, I can always adjust it. So it's pretty good. And then take a little bit off his head too. And the other thing I was going to do is add in some birds up here too. Got a bunch of sparrows that were all doing different things here, darting about. They always seem like there's always a lot of drama going on with sparrows. I don't know. I don't know what they get mad about, but they seem like they're always yelling at each other. I'm just using this almost as a generic sort of dark tone right now. I can go in and refine it a bit later. About putting one more in here, sort of swooping down. A little darker. Try some phthalo alizarin. Mix in just a little bit of that too. Scrape out a little extra paint. It'll be dirty, but I can cover it up. So it's just a little more in there than I wanted. All right. So that's pretty fun. It's funny just having the little creatures running around. That's kind of gives a little bit more of the feel. There was just so much. All of a sudden, there's just so much life from coming out of a storm. Feeling like the more darkness I kind of bring into this tree trunk, the more it kind of makes the rest of it feel like it lights up. I don't want to overdo it, but feel like I got a good sense of the shape of this maple tree, which I feel kind of happy about. I feel like sometimes it's hard to get the right feel of a tree. Alright, so I'm gonna actually do a little bit more with this shadow here. Now that I have a little bit more shape to this guy. That works. Let's put a little bit more. I noticed this shadow here is a little off. Kind of a few layers here. These are some messy plants. Alright. Back to wax maybe. So yeah. So I'm gonna clean off this area. I may keep some of this around, but I need a little space to work. So we'll just do that. And put that to the side. I may need a little bit of it, but shouldn't be very much. I was originally thinking this was going to be a really long painting. I was like, I'll do a small one. I'm going to do just a quick, easy one. And I think I'm in an ambitious mode right now where I just want to do a lot of different things, I guess. Alright, so this out. I think the main thing I'm going to do next is I'm going to mix up a white with the wax, and then like a white with just a tiny bit of blue and wax. And yeah, I'll try a little of both. So I'll start with just white and wax first. And a little bit of random colors. Put those to the side. Pretty nice. I'll do white with a touch, just a touch of ultramarine. And some wax with that too. So I think some of this sort of closer area here, where this sort of mixed shadows and light, I think this is going to work well for. Like that. Keep this kind of smooth. I'm using this knife that has a flat edge, which seems like it just blends a little bit flatter looking. I like this wax for the snow texture. It works really well, especially kind of weaving it in with the shadows here. But I also feel like I don't need this to get all liney like I have the sky. I have a lot of lines in. I'm not really looking to do the same thing with the snow. This is kind of a sort of fresher blanket of snow. I'm really just looking to do a little bit of canvas cover up, a little bit of shading, a little bit of refinement here and there. looks pretty good for there. And then here I'm putting in the more white snow tone. I feel like that's just, it's a little bit warmer. A little bit. This gives like a little bit more contrast here, which I think is going to bring to my focal point. A squirrel, which I hope is readable enough as a squirrel. A little brighter. Liking this, okay. Still want to put a little bit more. I was thinking about even having like the drips. I'm like nervous about putting them in, but maybe I'll just try it. I think maybe a longer knife. It's like this whole tree is just like a melting. That's kind of what I liked, all the like the motion of it all. I feel like this had this too. Such a drastic change from a stormy night to a glowing sunny morning. I think I picked up something I don't want on my knife. So I'll just take it off. Okay. Like this actually gives them more of a sort of a drop style, where if you start down at the bottom and go up it, the thickest drops will be below. That's fairly good. All right. Just trying to kind of find this. It's so little, but I feel like it could still be a little better too. Here we go. I think this little hands maybe. It's a little better. Okay. So kept this close here. I'm gonna do a little bit more blue. Let's try and bring this a little darker. Feels a little cheating to go in with the brush, but I feel like it. For these little animals, I think they're kind of hard to do with just a knife, especially just because I've got so much texture on here now that I lost one of them. He was in the middle here. Kind of how it is though, they disappear. I'm gonna clean up this brown here. It's like a little distracting. Make a little bit more of this yellow. Not that yellow. like it, I think. I'm gonna let this one be here. I think it's a cute painting. I think that there's something to it for sure. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope you have a wonderful day or night, or whatever you're off to next.